everybody, and welcome to Stars Podcast at the AAERT convention in St. Louis. I'm Deanna Oakes, and I'm here with Andre Rojas of Stenograph, who's going to give us a little bit about him and what he thinks of our profession. So welcome.
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
I'm great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why don't you start by telling us what you do?
Okay, so it's a long journey to get to here. I am now basically a sales representative at Stenograph, selling our enterprise products. So MaxScribe and newly acquired Case Testify. So I've been working in this space for a very long time. So I'm just here now and bringing these wonderful products that I do think I would have loved to have when I was working in the court reporting industry.
So you've been in the court reporting industry for a while then?
That's correct.
Have you always been in a sales capacity?
No,
or you were
not whatsoever.
Okay, wow.
So that's why my journey has been a little bit interesting. I worked in operations for a very long time.
With Stenograph?
No. So I'll tell you a little bit more about the history, actually. So I worked at U.S. Legal. That was my introduction to the court reporting world. And I was actually there from pretty young kid all the way to 16 years later. And I was there for a while. I did mostly scheduling stuff. So, local scheduling in Miami. That's where I'm from.
Okay.
And then national scheduling, dove into the video conference portion of everything. I went back and forth with that. And then that's where I kind of landed towards the end. During the pandemic, I was really responsible for handling, making sure that all of our remote settings, which is very important at the time, obviously, because that's the only way our industry was making any money.
Yeah.
So I was in charge of handling that. Florida was the epicenter. We were the first ones to really get on our feet again at U.S. Legal and really bringing jobs back into the court reporting world. And later on, I ended up departing from them in 2021, and that's when I worked at Testify, which is where our product Case Testify kind of comes from.
And so here you are today.
Yes, exactly.
At this convention.
Yeah, so it's a wonderful product, Case Testify. I could talk about that all day long. I've been working with it for about 2 years, a little over 2 years now. And it's really just a wonderful way to get the in-room feel. Because honestly, I don't really feel like remote depositions are going anywhere. And when you talk to people, that's pretty much what everyone says. So this product actually kind of just, I feel like it makes you feel like you're back in room taking depositions in person, but everyone's virtual and saving money.
Yeah. So you went to Testify. So did you have some input in the way that the platform is operating?
Correct.
Really?
So I was hired to be settled on Director of Virtual Solutions. That was my title there. Testify was needing someone from the court reporting industry to actually be in there. No one in the industry, on the team really had that experience. So they brought me in to give that perspective. I would have been someone that would be looking at their product, and they needed someone to bring that expertise in. So, really just teaching them about the nuances of the court reporting world, how people feel about certain things, remote depositions, because I was at some point overseeing 600 remote depositions every single day.
Oh, wow. That is no small feat.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
It didn't start that way, but eventually once we, everyone figured out how to do these things, it really took off.
Yeah. And I mean, what an incredible ability to have, just to be able to, I was going to say manifest, but that's definitely not the word, but manage, all of those different things simultaneously. Well, that is just mind-boggling, I feel like.
I had a great team. I would never sit here and say I did it all myself. Honestly, I just made sure that it went well, but the team that we had put together to really make it happen was the magic. Right. You really are never going to be as good as your team, and just making sure that people were willing to put in those long hours, because that's what it took. We just had to do whatever it took.
Yeah, definitely.
So that gave me the experience to really move to the software industry, which is really what Testify is. It's not really, it's in the court reporting space, but it's a software company. And then right. Stenograph, we are here servicing the agencies as well, so that's where those all skills transition to.
Yeah, and it sounds like pretty seamlessly. I mean, it makes sense, going from one to the other, that it would be, your expertise now. You've had a lot of experience in that.
I've been very, very fortunate, very lucky.
Yeah. So how did you get into it to begin with?
The court reporting world?
Yeah,
Honestly, funny enough, I had no idea what a court reporter was. I was 20 years old. I had a couple of jobs at law firms. And
What do you mean a couple of jobs at law firms?
you
What
know,
is that?
just like file clerks and
Oh, okay.
you know, little things like that. Assistant, you know, assisting attorneys
Right, right.
with cases. I thought I wanted to be a lawyer,
Okay.
and then I kind of changed my mind.
Yeah.
But I still had that experience, so that was, you know, where I could keep my expertise in for at least a little bit. And then I applied at U.S. Legal Support. You know, they called me in for an interview, and I thought I was interviewing for a law firm. And they're like, "No, wait a minute, we're not a law firm. We are court reporters." I'm like, "What's a court reporter?"
Oh, how funny. Which is interesting because you actually worked for some law firms and you still didn't know what a court reporter
Yeah,
is.
because I was mostly doing real estate and, you know,
Oh, right.
things like that. So you don't really see depositions.
Yeah.
I mean, I had heard what depositions were. You watch all these movies.
Yeah.
Then now, actually, once you are in this field and you see the court reporter in the movie, you're like, oh, see, that's something that would have just brushed over.
Right, exactly. You don't even notice it.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, then, you know, wanted me for a scheduling role, and that's where I started talking to clients, servicing them, and I guess that's just where I, you know, naturally progressed. Ever since then, sales is very interesting to me. I used to think I would never work in sales.
Yeah.
And people have always told me, oh, you'd be really good at it. And I was like, no, that's not for me. I don't
Right.
want to, you know, feed people for a living.
Right. Well, sales can be really challenging. Also,
It can.
the other
It
side
can.
of it. So,
Yes.
how do you, you know, bridge that gap in the sales capacity when somebody is resistant to, you know, this technology, this platform that's really helpful to them? Like, what are some of those tactics that you might?
I think that the one thing that you need to have in this industry is empathy. If you don't have empathy for all of basically everyone that's working in this industry trying to make a living, capturing the record, making sure that, you know, attorneys have and everyone has what they need to make their legal proceedings go forward. But you need to understand and listen to everyone, because everyone's just in this thing trying to make a difference and trying to make a living. Everyone has a different way of doing it. You know, even stenographers have different methods that they use.
Yeah.
So I worked with stenographers for a very long time. I was actually air traffic control, making sure that they all got to their jobs, and
I love the air traffic control analogy.
that's what they used to call me. So it kind of just stuck, you know.
Yeah.
But really, when you're working in a city as busy as Miami, that has to deal with traffic, and you know, our infrastructure in Miami is not the best. So there's just traffic everywhere at all times.
Oh, wow.
Making sure that reporters can get to certain jobs, you know, just really looking at everything as a whole to make sure that clients were serviced. That's, you know, and I became best friends with these court reporters because, you know, they're how much money they made really came through me.
Right. Yeah. If you're scheduling.
So
yeah.
they
Yeah.
you become their best friend, and you learn a lot of things. And I, you know, listening to them, I think made me good at that job.
Okay.
And then here on this space, you know, it's talking to, you know, I was also part of U.S. Legal in the office where digital reporting kind of started for the company. So I had that input, and I was helping with that. And so I got to hear both sides. And I think all that experience kind of just progressed towards where I am right now. So it's really just understanding that everyone has a different method, but ultimately everyone wants the same goal.
Yeah. And so you have a really unique experience of working with both, not both, there's more than just two, but working with, you know, digital reporters and then also stenographers. And did you find that your job was easy enough to do, or did you find that some, you know, more challenging in this capacity and maybe stenographers are more challenging in that capacity?
Oh, no, absolutely. So digital reporters they don't come into this industry knowing that they want to be a court reporter. Excuse me. So they don't really understand like I guess I don't want to say the drama, but the you know, just that interesting situation that they're always in with each other. The digital reporters just came in looking for a job. Yeah, that sounds great. And
Yeah.
then stenographers obviously have their feelings about it. So I think that being in the same room as both and making sure that nobody is you know, terribly angry at each other, trying to find ways to make them work together and understand that everyone here serves a purpose.
Yeah.
And it's not the same purpose. It's, you know, there are certain things that, you know, digital reporters were going to be used, especially at the time when it was so brand new. There were certain jobs and proceedings that digital reporting was going to be used for, and there's certain jobs that stenographers are going to be used for. And I think just, like I said, going back to empathy, helping people understand each other's situation is the most important thing.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think that, in order to get that sort of sense of empathy, a lot of times people need to be educated. They need to
Correct.
know, what strife or whatever it might be, just, what challenges other people are facing. So what would you say in all of your time being in this field, what would you say is your greatest accomplishment?
Oh, I don't know. I'm so into developing talent and developing folks that are new to this industry, because this industry has so many little caveats and weird things about it. It's so niche that to explain this industry to someone, anytime anybody asks you, what do you do for a living? It's kind of like, I don't even want to tell you.
How much time do you have?
Yeah, exactly. There's just so much to it.
Yeah.
So, bringing in new folks to this industry, most people come from the legal background, but they don't really understand this niche field that we're in. So, bringing in talent, helping them develop, helping them be, understand what it takes to be successful in this field. That's been my biggest accomplishment. I have people that have worked under me that are now managers in other places, and that's really what makes me the happiest. But second to that is now as a salesperson and, really changing from operations. Like I said, I always had people tell me I'd be really good at sales. I don't really feel like this is sales anymore. Like, yes, I'm selling you a product, but I'm really just trying to fix an issue that you might have or a gap that you could be better at. And I think bringing solutions to agencies that I used to work with and new ones that I'm being introduced to is my biggest success story. And being able to really believe in the product that you're selling. I look at what MaxScribe is doing for the digital reporting industry. I think it's fantastic. I think that you are really giving a shot to those that really need some help to get these transcripts out to attorneys a lot faster. Really, the attorneys at this point just want their product quickly.
They do. I mean, everybody wants everything quickly now, right?
But everything, yeah, right, exactly. Look at Amazon at this point.
Oh my gosh, I know.
What do you mean it's going to be 2 days?
Right.
No, I want it now, tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that's the same thing for everything. And in this field, it's just becoming more and more challenging. So developing products that are really helping, I think, is phenomenal. And bringing a product that, like I told you, really brings you that in-room feel back into virtual depositions and proceedings, and other legal proceedings. I love it. I really love what I'm doing right now.
That's so great. And it really makes a difference. I think people can tell when you like what you're doing,
Absolutely.
So for those of us that don't know about the product, I mean, what exactly is that courtroom feel? How does the product make us feel like we're...
Okay. So Case Testify, there's a lot of options out there for taking remote depositions. The difference is that it really is a truly all-in-one platform where you have one login and you create, you have your platform where you have access to certain assets that you can always go back to. And video conferencing, exhibit sharing.
That's a big one.
Right.
That is a very big one.
It is. And, private rooms that you don't need a host to put you into.
Yeah.
Instant access to exhibits for attorneys and production teams.
Yeah.
That's the biggest one for me, because
same.
When I worked in a reporting agency, I was in scheduling and I had to call attorneys saying, hey, where are these exhibits? Sorry.
Yeah.
And they would say, oh, the reporter has them. And the reporter's like, no, the attorney has them. And then there's always like this battle.
Yeah.
And virtual took that to another dimension, because now, you think that the person has them because you shared them, but maybe they didn't download them. And there's all sorts of things that go into that. So having a platform that, the attorneys actually like to use. I have, even though we don't sell to attorneys, I have presented this on behalf of our clients to help them out for demonstrations. The attorneys really like it. They seem to really gravitate towards something that is easy to use. That's always the first comment I get. That makes me feel very happy. Means our product team is doing what they're supposed to do. And they kind of just take back what they gave up, which was, here are my exhibits. They like to stamp them themselves. All that stuff is available. And with a click of a button, an agency can give access to those exhibits to their client. And that was huge, because back then when we were copying exhibits and, putting them up and uploading
Taking
them.
the staples out. Oh my goodness.
Exactly. Everything.
The bane of my existence.
Exactly. But now you just have one hub you grab everything. The agency can upload everything and send them out with their transcripts very, very quickly, especially if it's like an overnight.
Yeah.
Or those situations where, there's an expert one day and then the expert the next day.
Yeah.
Technically, at the very end of the deposition, with one click of a button, the agencies can give all the attorneys that need access to those exhibits for their next expert, which I can't tell you how many times I had phone calls at 8 o'clock at night over this.
Oh, wow. I'm sure.
Yeah. So it really just saves time. It's
Yeah.
an efficiency gain, and that's really what we're all here to do.
No, definitely. And it sounds really, really convenient to have everything right, because you have your video conferencing in one platform, and then you have, like you said, just all of these other entities that maybe you're trying to use. So it's helpful to have everything in one place. And,
Correct.
And that's a solid game changer. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, I myself have not used it yet, but I'm looking forward to it.
I am the guy. I can introduce it to you. I can show it to you. I can demo it to you. And, if getting the word out there is the biggest thing.
Sure.
This is a newer product for Stenograph. And but we really want to promote it because it's I've heard the word game changer, and I don't like using it because I think it's like a little overused.
Okay.
But I do feel like it's making a big difference.
Okay.
So the more we promote it, the better. Get me in a room with most people, and I will find them a reason to like it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because there's so many features. And I'm just giving you like, the biggest ones, but there's little things there that are also awesome.
Yeah. Well, it's just like, Catalyst in general. There's so many features. I mean, you could just go on for days. People don't even realize how complex the software is. And it's
Right.
just marvelous once you realize like how convenient, how much the software can do for you.
Exactly.
That's a really great selling point. So in this whole process of, acquiring They Testify and now Case Testify, what would you say was your biggest obstacle?
The biggest obstacle was definitely the pandemic.
Yeah, you're right.
Developing, switching gears. I used to coordinate depositions in other states, but that required traveling a lot of the times, or like sending a laptop. There was usually
Oh my
some
gosh,
sort
the
of
traveling laptop.
yes, really changing your mind on everything you knew to something completely different was, I think, the biggest challenge. And it had to happen very quickly.
Yeah,
Because if you didn't adapt, you're going to get left behind.
for sure. Which is a very powerful statement, and I believe in that wholeheartedly. And
Absolutely. And then just switching from a court report agency where I was there for so long that I was so used to like that process,
Yeah.
and then going to a software company where everything's a little bit different.
yeah,
Even though it was very exciting, I was a little scared for sure.
sure. Yeah,
It's a whole big change, and then everyone's looking to you for the answers, so you want to make sure that you're guiding them in the right direction. So I think that was probably the scariest thing. But other than that, I honestly feel like I've been very lucky, very fortunate, just put in the right position to succeed. I got to thank my mentors that I had previously for that, and that's why I'm so drawn to mentoring others, because people need it, and everyone needs some sort of help at some point.
yeah.
And acknowledging that and accepting it, and moving forward with something that could, who would have thought that I'd be in this court reporting world for a career? I thought I was going to be something else, and it's very fulfilling.
Yeah, it sure is. I would agree completely, especially being part of the justice system, and seeing that this is something that really happens and works, and it's pretty rewarding for sure. So where do you see yourself in the future?
I don't know. I don't think that far ahead.
Okay, that's so funny that you say that, because I honestly have never, some people say things like, I've imagined my wedding since I was 3 and these types of things, and I usually don't either. And they say, where do you picture yourself in 5 years? And it's like, I don't even know what's going to happen
I
today.
don't know. I like living life that way, honestly. Just kind of, now I'm not saying that I don't like to plan anything,
Right.
but for them, like, this has been I've only been doing sales now since September of last year, truly doing sales. I mean, I was kind of helping with it at Testify, and now, like, truly being in the sales position, it's relatively new to me. You're kind of like your own company. You're making sure that you're successful and that everyone else is successful. So I think that is where I'm at right now, and that's why I can't really think too far ahead, because I'm still making sure that this is something that I want to do forever.
Right.
Or maybe because it could be. I definitely like it. I like communicating with people. I like bringing solutions to people. So it's kind of a natural thing for me. But I do have that leadership part of my, what I'm used to. And I do need to fulfill that again at some point. So we'll see. We'll see where that takes me.
Yeah, the sky's the limit.
Absolutely.
So what would you say to like a new high school graduate who is maybe interested in this field?
I like to meet them because I sure didn't know anyone that was in high school saying that they wanted to work in this field. Honestly, I feel like people stumble upon this field most of the time. Now, when I was in high school, the internet was, the online job searching was still kind of a new thing.
Right.
So I'm sure that people now are, there's more exposure.
Yeah.
That we didn't have back then. So I would just tell someone, look, if you're not sure what you want to do, but you're interested in the legal field, instead of working for a law firm, why don't you try servicing law firms? And it can actually be pretty exciting. I mean, there's so many little things that you can do in here, and there's so many great people in this industry that are willing to really help people grow and understand something. And then honestly, what I think is most valuable is that once you're in this industry, it's kind of hard to get out because you know so much in this niche field that people value that.
Yes.
And, I never thought that I'd be here today.
Right.
And it can actually open up a lot of doors for you. And I think some of the skills that you get here, you could use anywhere. So, if you're just not sure what to do, or if you want to get in the legal field but you don't really want to be an attorney, I would definitely say, hey, give it a shot. Go apply at a court reporting firm or apply to be a digital reporter. I think that's really, really fantastic. I would love for someone to go through schooling to be a stenographer. It's very, very difficult. So if you're not willing to put in that time, give it a shot. You can really learn a lot, meet a lot of great people. You're going to go around meeting attorneys, meeting everyone in this field that it can be very, very powerful and very, very rewarding.
Yeah, I would agree. It is incredibly rewarding, and it feels like I learn something new every day because you don't know what the witness is going to say, right? They could be a forensic expert, they could be a crash reconstructionist. I mean, there's just all kinds of things, so it's almost like I feel like I'm a jack of all trades, master of none, right?
I have called myself that multiple times. It's funny that you say that.
That is too funny.
Because one thing I do love too are the stories you get from the court reporters.
Yeah.
Those are fantastic.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think that if unless you know exactly what you want to do when you get out of schooling, just try something new, try something different. You'll just never know where you end up.
Totally. And it's very viable. I mean, you can get your certifications and, be working in under a year if you're a digital reporter, which is pretty monumental.
Absolutely.
With the way that people want to see results so quickly and the way that they don't want to end up at a four-year university that costs them $350,000 or whatever it could be.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, I mean, and somebody was saying too that it's really valuable because you can be in your second career, your third career, you could be young, like there's just all walks of life. It's inviting for everybody. And somebody else referred to it as a noble profession, which I thought was just really well said because you are a part of this justice system that is so prevalent in our democracy. It's such an important part of the way that our country functions. It's meaningful.
We haven't really touched on that too much. You're right. Nothing is more important than the record when these cases are going through their life cycle.
Yeah.
Being part of that is awesome. So, no, I think you're 100% right. It is a noble profession. You are there probably getting overlooked by most people in the room because, everyone's there with their game face on, questioning the witness, and you're there witnessing and listening and providing something very valuable that everyone needs to win a case. So, yeah, I 100% agree with you. It's really fantastic. And I'm really glad that the doors are opening up to more people because it kind of felt like this was, especially when I was only working with stenographers, it felt like, it was like a club that was very, very hard to get in.
Yeah.
And that really can't be the way. We're only getting busier.
Yeah.
And there's only more and more cases. I mean, it's not going to go downwards.
Exactly.
It's only going to get more difficult and busier. And I think that, finding a different method and executing it, making sure that it's just as good or comparable to the gold standard is fantastic. And I'm really excited to be a part of it.
Yeah, and I'm also happy to be a part of it. It's been really lovely to talk to you, and I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us.
Thank you very much.
Is there anything else that you think that the audience should know?
No, I'm just a guy from Miami that, like I said,
Lucky.
never thought I'd be, working in this field. I'm very excited and just very happy to be here. And one thing I do want to mention before we go is the beauty of case testifying. There might be some misinformation out there.
Yeah.
Is that it's reporter agnostic. So I
Yeah.
do talk to firms that are strictly stenographic, or, steno only, and I also talk to digital reporting firms. We're servicing everybody.
Yeah.
So if you can take anything away from this interview, is that Stenograph is not gearing towards one profession or the other. We want to make sure that everyone in the industry can be serviced. So if anybody wants to communicate about that, more than happy to. You can find me on LinkedIn or anything else, and I'd be happy to have a conversation.
Yeah, I love that. And we're stronger together, right?
Absolutely.
That's kind of the mantra that we want to put forward is we really are stronger together.
Correct.
So, thank you so much. I really appreciate you joining us, and thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.